shout the lazy will all turn out and we'll all feel gay when Johnny comes marching home. The old church bell will peal with joy, hurrah, hurrah, to welcome home our darling boy, hurrah, hurrah.
Welcome back, folks. As you could probably tell by the thumbnail, we got permission to do Independence from Vice Grip Garage. I might even do Betty White. I don't care if you're not laughing. Derek thought it was hilarious. This is the first diecast car that I've had that I didn't really want to take out of the package, but duty calls. It's a killer green light body, but I'm going to make it a bit more patriotic. Let's get started, shall we? I am seriously digging the detail that Greenlight puts into these. They're not sponsors or anything, but quality is quality. Alright, so where do we begin? As with most builds, obviously, I'm going to have to drill out the pegs to separate the body. Greenlight seems to use smaller pegs than Mattel, so a little care had to be taken when drilling them out. You'll see that this peg is very close to the bumper, which I don't want to damage. I'll switch out to a flat-face drill head. It'll take a little longer, but it's a bit more precise. Now that the frame is off, I can start pulling it apart and prepping the body for stripping. You'll see that the hood hinge gives me fits, but eventually it does come out. Would you like to see a magic trick? Keep your eye on the rear bumper. No worries though, I didn't lose it. It stopped at the edge of my workbench. Alright, so I'll get the glass out and get the body into the goo while I kick around what I'm going to do about the hood. You see, the hood on Independence doesn't have this big cowl on it. I might just have to attempt a 3D print for it. Let's get what remains of the paint off the car, then polish it up before we hit it with some primer. I'm sure that's fine. I've broken out the wire spinner 9000.2 to get the body shined up. Well, now that doesn't look too terrible. How about a dab or two of that tss? While the primer dehydrates, I'll break into the digicals and see if I can't googleate some of the more important chunks of the build. Like the belt bar / roll cage. All right, let's get on to some of that corroded paint, shall we? I've found that some people pronounce rust and corrosion another way. They say patina. There's really no translation required here. Lots of paint details and attention to body damage. Well, that's not terrible either. You'll probably note that there's not really a firewall. That's so that they could create the hinge for the opening hood. At this point, I'm still working on what to do about the hood. Finally, some red, white, and blue. Let's try this dollar store tape. I'm sure it'll work fine. Well, that just looks awful, but it's easy enough to fix. See? I'll do a couple more minor touch ups before I pass it off to Foggy for the fender stars. Now, I know the fender is almost black in reality, but I don't have a blue that's that dark, so I'm pushing for just a standard dark blue on that side. After I get some aging effects on the body, we should be ready to start working on some of the more minor details. This is a technique called dry brushing. It helps out a lot when trying to add wear and tear to a project. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you really can't argue with the results. Once we throw on some interior details, we'll be ready to start the test fittings. And just how are we going to power this American monster? With this 1 centimeter square piece of plastic, of course. I'm sure that'll be fine. I'll prime it before we get it off to Foggy as well. How's about a preview, huh? That's really starting to look like something there. I figured I should probably put the roll cage in before I go much further. Somehow, some way, I'd removed a bit of the paint on the door. It's an easy enough fix, though. All right, let's get on to the design for the burnout wheels. They honestly look like the wheels that were on our pop-up camper when I was a kid. Once we've got the wheels printed, Foggy and I will button up a few more items on the car. But let's get you to those glamour shots. What do you say?